Hi, Irene Fehr here, sex coach for committed couples. On today's video blog, I want to share with you about two types of motivation, human motivation, and how to create and get exactly what you want in life. In working with hundreds of clients over the last 7 years, individuals and couples, I've learned a lot about what motivates human beings to create change in our lives, whether it's to better our relationships, have better and more sex, change our lives, change our jobs, you name it, to create change in our lives for better. And I found that there is a type of motivation that only works so far, a type of motivation that helps us fix a problem, but doesn't ever get us to actually having what we truly want. And that's what I want to share with you today. So the first type of human motivation is what I call human instinct motivation. This term, and also the term for the other type of motivation, I borrowed from Alison Armstrong, who has done an immense amount of research on men and women and communication dynamics between both. So human instinct motivation is driven by our instinct to avoid or to not be in situations that are unsafe, that are negative, or that hurt. We're human animals, and we want to avoid those places where we are hurt. And so it's natural for us to want to move away from them, run away in a sense, be motivated by getting away from the problem. If we have a bad relationship, we want to make it less bad. If we have a broken roof, we want to fix the roof so that we have a safe housing situation. And in this kind of motivation, it's almost like we don't have a choice. We're wired to avoid the negative and the pain and move towards the positive. So we create a better situation than us, or a better context within which we exist. This is how we as humans have evolved over the centuries, why we don't live in caves anymore, and why we don't have to rub sticks to create fires, because those were painful and hard, and we wanted to move away from that. We wanted to make our lives better. This kind of motivation gets us to a place of safety, of no pain, of good, or what I call good enough. This is where we were hundreds of years ago when we were living without electricity, but we had fires, we had heat, we had agriculture, so we had food. It wasn't consistent, it wasn't really what we wanted, but it was good, and it was good enough. We were safe. This kind of motivation, human instinct motivation, gets us to that place of good enough. And that's where I see a lot of people stop making an effort, because they're good. Things are good. Things are fine. You're not in pain anymore. And that's where we have to switch to a different kind of motivation if we want more in our lives. If we want not just good, but we want amazing, we have to switch to a different kind of motivation, which, again, borrowing Alison Armstrong term, I call human spirit motivation. This is motivation that's no longer driven by wanting to get away from the problem. This is motivation driven by wanting to move towards something. This is motivation that comes from being pulled by a bigger vision, by a bigger desire or dream. This is motivation that comes from wanting something bigger than what you are, or bigger than what exists. This is intentional motivation, whereas human instinct motivation, we don't have a choice. We're wired for that. To have a dream, to want something better, to want to create something in our lives, that takes choice and intentionality. It takes also courage to dream about something that doesn't exist, or that you haven't experienced yet, or maybe you've experienced and you want more of. It takes risk to put that out there in the world, to put yourself out there and to say, I want something bigger. Human spirit motivation requires a whole lot of responsibility and permission to dream big, and responsibility for that vision that doesn't exist. That is how we can create amazing. This is how we can create so much more than good or good enough. And what I see in terms of these types of motivations is that human instinct motivation, it's powerful. And then we hit a wall of that good enough. And then we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. We have to make a choice to dream. We have to make a choice to take responsibility for creating what we want. Not just running away from the problem, but actually moving towards a vision and creating it. By dreaming, by asking for what we want, by standing up for our vision. And that takes courage. It takes courage to take risks. It takes courage to put yourself out there. But that is the motivation that's going to get you to create and have what you deeply desire. That is the kind of motivation that gets you up during every day and has you do what you need to do, what you have to do to create it. It doesn't mean it's easy. There's ups and downs. Courage is not easy. Courage takes everything that you have. Courage requires us to see what we're made of. And that's how we create what we want. That's how we create the life that we deeply, deeply desire. A life of intention, a life of choice, a life of amazing, not just good enough. I hope this has been helpful for you to see, to map out maybe your own journey or how you have approached getting what you want in life, creating either the kind of relationship that you want or the job or a community or situation, whatever it is. I hope this has given you some insights on how to approach creating the life that you want. Thank you for listening.